Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for tuning in. This is going to be another amazing show this evening. And what can I tell you other than, first of all, Luke St. Martin and Eric H526, thank you so very much for being amazing moderators. Lately, there have been certain wonderful people saying, "Oh, H.A. Goodman, you say the same things every day." Well, it's true. I do. I do say the same things every day, but my uploads are 20 minutes and my live stream is 2 hours every evening. In between saying the same things every day, that I predicted the 2016 election, that I was published in the Huffington Post, the Hill Salon, the Jerusalem Post, the Times of Israel. I've also been on CNN and MSNBC. I mean, I can go on, this is when I was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post, and the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post. In addition to saying that Hillary Clinton's going to be nominee, and that I want everyone to share my article in the Huffington Post written in 2017, Hillary Clinton 2020 is a reality, get ready for 8 years of President Trump. In addition to saying that Trump was set up and framed by corrupt intelligence officials, and that Debbie Wasserman Schultz was forced to resign because Bernie Sanders was cheated in 2016, and then he was cheated again in Iowa in 2020. In addition to saying that President Trump is bringing home Americans from never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts. In addition to all of that, I actually talk about a lot of things. I mean, we talk about everything from Ferraris to the most poisonous reptiles on the planet. What else? When we talked about, poisonous spiders, reptiles, the cost of a new Ferrari. What else? I do my impressions.
I could do my Chuck Grassley.
No. That's Mitch McConnell.
Mitch McConnell. I do my Mitch McConnell. I can do Mitch McConnell. President Trump. Oh, Nancy. You're going to lose the election. And when you do, just remember, you got into the octagon. And when you get in the octagon with Mitch McConnell, you get khabibed.
Let's see. I can do Bill Clinton.
I want to thank you, Luke St. Martin. And I want to thank you, Eric H526. And I want to thank every intern I've ever had. Thank you so very much.
My point, though, is the following. There's a lot to talk about pertaining to the election. It just we haven't even really begun. We haven't started the actual election. This is nonsense. Today, for example, we had the same every single day. Look, I won't do these segments. I wouldn't do these segments every day. I wouldn't do these segments every day if there weren't reasons for me to do them. Today, for example, in addition, yesterday, you had Biden calling a reporter a junkie. And then today he made the most absurd comment. And it's such an absurd, offensive, by the standard, with judging through using the standard by which they judge everyone. Now, this standard is a ludicrous, unfair standard. But using the standard by which they judge President Trump and anyone opposite them, what Biden stated was the most offensive, racist, the most incoherent statement and or I should say at least offensive and biased statement. They don't judge themselves the way they judge others. That's the point here. Also, the point is that Biden is slowly and deliberately and methodically tanking his campaign because Clinton is going to be the nominee. They're not going to go with Biden because if you look at the polls show that Clinton did better than Biden among Black and African American voters and among Latino and Hispanic voters. The entire thing has been a charade. We have not really begun the election cycle. It is August 6th. I'm expecting Clinton to be nominee. I don't think they'll be that inept. By the way, to my super chat, thank you very, very much. You help me do these segments, and you give me every incentive to rock these live streams. But Birds Nation 302, thank you, Birds Nation 302. Thank you very, very much. You go ahead and the way they judge Trump and everyone else is not the way they judge themselves. So today, for example, he went ahead and stated something that's so absurd and so insulting. And he did it on purpose. Just like, okay, Biden's campaign has always been a balancing act between... It's always been a balancing act between being just good enough to defeat Bernie Sanders and be a plausible alternative to Trump, because you could find a crocodile and put a top hat and a bow tie on a crocodile and say, you know what? This crocodile is defeating Trump in the polls nationwide, and liberals and Democrats and people on the left will believe it. But the reason I started off by saying there's like 4 or 5 things that I always talk about is because these 4 or 5 things, whether it's Bernie Sanders being cheated or Clinton being the nominee, the media and Democrats have swept under the rug the most important stories of the past 5 years. And they're actively, or I don't know if it's giving tacit approval to the charade or part of the charade, or they're being duped along with everyone else. But the biggest story, the biggest political story that nobody is talking about is the fact that Biden isn't going to be nominee. It's going to be Clinton, and it will have always been Clinton. She's actually the best candidate they have, which is saying a lot about the Democratic Party. She's actually the best candidate that they have for a number of reasons. President Trump just surpassed $1 billion. So they have not surpassed $1 billion. He actually raised more money than Biden this month. And his campaign has knocked on 1 million doors. Biden's knocked on 0 doors. It was never going to be Biden. We're just waiting for the moment where they transfer the nomination from Biden to Clinton. But you look at what he said, and it's so condescending, and it's so arrogant, and it's just as condescending and arrogant and absurd as when he told Charlemagne the God, who doesn't like Trump. They all, see, this is the thing. The entire left is being, like, swept up in this contempt for Trump, and it's actually dismantling their entire movement. So you have Charlemagne the God, 3 days before George Floyd was murdered, interviewing Biden, where he says to Biden, where they're about to end the interview, and he goes, if you have a problem choosing between me or Trump, then you ain't black. That is, if President Trump said that, he would be impeached. With Biden, they swept it under the rug. Now you have, I'll give you the exact quote and you can hear him. This is just, it's unbelievable because you can hear it right now. Here, we'll just listen to this right now. How does a presidential campaign that is dependent upon African American and Latino voters survive this? The only way, ladies and gentlemen, is if you have so much venom and vitriol against President Trump, if you have so much venom and vitriol against Trump that you can't see straight. Here's what he said today, and this is like a deliberate attempt. His entire act is, let me be just plausible enough, just good enough to dupe millions upon millions of Democrats who will basically vote for anyone aside from President Trump, as long as the person is not Bernie Sanders. And let me be just horrible enough so delegates have to think about, not that long, to say we need somebody else. This is absurd. We're not going to nominate Tales from the Crypt, a person who looks and acts like an exhumed body. But here's what he said. This is the essence of the Democratic Party right here.
No, but most people don't know. Unlike the African American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community with incredibly different attitudes about different things.
The African American and black communities are incredibly diverse as well. And they have and like any community, there's a myriad of thought and a diverse a great range of viewpoints. You cannot paint 40 million people with the same brush. This is the essence of bigotry and racism, which is what Democrats actually are all about nowadays. They're so arrogant. It's unbelievable. Carol! Just Carol! Please, H.A., do the John O'Brien Sally Yates.
Sully.
And maybe Goodnight Trump by Sessions. I need a good laugh tonight. Just Carol. Okay, I will. Let me think of something right now. Just Carol. Thank you. Let me think of something right now. Anthony Andrea. Why is Biden waiting on Durham? Why is Biden waiting on Durham? Durham to pick his VP? Who do you think the VP will be if we don't have results on election night? Can Congress step in and put a temporary president in place? No, Congress cannot step in. I don't think Congress can step in at all. The Supreme Court, a lot of people are talking about that. I don't believe Congress can step in at all. The Supreme Court would have to do, it would be like a 2000. It would be like something along the lines of 2000, where the Supreme Court would decide on a lawsuit or a case. So if let's say ballots were illegal ballots, or if there was a whole litany of if there were a whole litany of absurd of corrupt things taking place with Democratic operatives, picking up boxes and boxes of ballots, or ballot boxes being left just on the street like they were in Florida, then you'd have the Supreme Court step in. Congress is not gonna. The only time that the House of Representatives would decide is if it's a tie. If the Electoral College is a tie, then I believe the House of Representatives decides. But Anthony Andrea, thank you. Biden is waiting on a pick because he's not really going to be nominee. It's going to be Clinton. Clinton's going to be nominee, and he basically is just there to. They're pretending They basically are just, they're waiting until they spring Madam Secretary upon everybody, which will be just fine. So, Birds Nation, thank you. John O'Brien. You know what, Carol, I it's been so long.
Sally, it's John O'Brien. Sally, I heard that Clapper's been making rude remarks about me. Always know that
I'm trying to think. Here, we'll do Sessions.
Hi, Truppy, how are you? Thanks for all your help in Alabama. Oh, yeah, you've been a big help to me. Trust me.
I wish I could do more. Carol, I'm gonna try to I'll try to think of something more to do, but I appreciate you even remembering the see, I do the James Clapper.
There's no direct evidence. We do not have any direct evidence at all. If you ask me again, Chuck Todd, I will descend upon you with the strength and fury of 1,000 suns.
Carol, thank you. Pete Solano! There's no cure for TDS. If you walk up to one of them and they are zombies by shoving signs in your face and violate you any way they can. HA, thank you. Pete Solano. No, there's no... I would say, if you see Anthony, so Pete, I would say if you see anyone protesting, just stay away from them. Don't ever discuss the election with anyone who has TDS. It's just not worth it. And Pete Solano, thank you. Anthony, he's waiting on a VP because he's not going to be the nominee. He's deliberately tanking his campaign. He is deliberately tanking his campaign. And you heard what he said. The only way, the VP, I have no clue. Could be Susan Rice, could be Kamala Harris. It's not going to be, it'll very likely be it'll be two women. It will not be Tales from the Crypt, the exhumed body, the cadaver that looks like he got Botox and plastic surgery. It won't be Rip Van Winkle's worst nightmare. I'm speaking, of course, of the former Vice President Biden. It'll be two women, and Democrats will then say, look, you have a chance to go into, a new era of American politics. We'll have two women. It'll be Hillary Clinton and Susan Rice, or Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris. And this is an alternative. It's the antithesis of Trump and Pence and the bigotry and the racism and the Putin puppetry and the Russian interference. And they're going to go into this election, Anthony and Carol and Pete and Birds Nation, and they're going to say, we had Russia try to steal our future away from us. We had Russia try to steal our future away from us. And we're going to take back the future of this country. And like I said, I don't know how it's going to happen, but every single day, and this is why I do these segments. This is why these segments are important. Okay? Every single day, from here on out, I'm going to document how Biden deliberately tanks his campaign to make it seem like he's actually running, while at the same time giving pledge delegates and superdelegates every reason to switch from him to Clinton. The whole thing is a game. He's not really... Okay, does it look like he wants to win? He does not really want to win. He's not really trying. They have no... Democrats are consumed with contempt for Trump. That's it. They are absolutely consumed with contempt for President Trump. That's what drives their daily existence. Everything is Trump's fault. Okay, what scandal is Trump? What scandal can you attribute to Trump's actual behavior? Did he own a server? Did he engage in a failed business practice like Whitewater? Was he in the Oval Office with an intern? Did he have a foundation that raised $10 billion for the people of Haiti, where only 3% got to the people of Haiti? What is it that he did specifically? They say, well, his taxes. Well, what exactly do they know that the IRS doesn't know? He withheld military assistance. There's no direct evidence he did that. There's no document. There's no email. There's no directive. There's no order from President Trump. There's no direct evidence. The circumstantial evidence is far greater pertaining to every single allegation in Peter Schweizer's book, Clinton Cash, than any of the scandals pertaining to Trump. Jimbo! The most pathetic run for office ever. A farce. Exactly. It's a complete charade. That's why I have to do these segments, because a lot of people, not a lot, but let's, from time to time, I actually don't mind it at all, because there has to be a voice talking about 4 or 5 things that no, but even the Bernie Sanders supporters, I'm a Trump supporter, even the Bernie Sanders supporters are not talking anymore about Bernie Sanders getting cheated in 2016. When you watch this channel, it's like people. One of the best things anyone has ever said about me is that, and it might not have been a complete compliment, was that I'm like a time capsule of 2016, because 2016 to Democrats never happened. It was not only a bad dream, it was something that the dream actually didn't even happen. They've not only removed it from reality, they removed it from ever possibly existing, even in a dream, even in a nightmare. So, you have a situation, ladies and gentlemen. Jennifer, thank you. You have a situation, ladies and gentlemen, where, oh my God, I'm looking at this. Another prehistoric insect. You have a situation where media is very good at pretending things don't happen. That's why Biden is able to circumvent. That's why he's being propped up by media. And this is another thing also that's very interesting. And this is a really important thing to remember. Okay, and I'll correlate this to this professor's prediction of the election, not Helmut Norpoth, Alan Lichtman. Professor Alan Lichtman, great professor, who called the 2016 election. That's great. Only problem is he has 13 keys. And Helmut Norpoth's prediction that Trump will win, he also has predicted every election since 84 and even before 84, Helmut Norpoth. But you have 2 professors who predicted 2016 and who have great track records predicting 2 different outcomes. I'll tell you why Helmut Norpoth will be right. Alan Lichtman, great professor, says that, well, he doesn't get a key, so there's 13 keys. Well, Trump doesn't get a key for a major foreign policy achievement. He was the first president to step foot in North Korea and begin détente between North and South Korea, to where there's now a diplomatic relationship that doesn't involve, threatening to obliterate the other country completely. I mean, that's happened since, but not in the same manner. The threats still take place, but at least there's dialogue, like serious dialogue. And to see President Moon Jae-in and Kim Jong-un embrace each other, it's something that you never thought would ever take place. The media this is a paradigm-changing moment in world history, not just in U.S. history, in world history, in Korean history. And the media spent about 2 seconds on it. So he doesn't even get a key. So you have these 13 keys, and he doesn't even get a key from Professor Lichtman for a major foreign policy achievement. Then he doesn't get the key, or Biden gets the key. I forgot how it's done, because of scandal. Well, what scandal is attributed to Trump's own behavior? Every single scandal, every single controversy is Trump could have done something. We have to investigate. Oh, we found nothing, but you know what? There's a whole lot that we have to be suspicious about still. Stormy. This is why they did not impeach him on anything to do with a criminal act. He didn't violate any legal statutes. That's another thing I always talk about. If I repeat 5 to 15 to 20 themes every single time I open my mouth, that's a pretty good thing. Because there are a great many inconvenient truths that media and Democrats do not want people to remember. For example, voting during March, during the height of the pandemic, before the curve was flattened in the U.S. And so they didn't mind voting, but now they want mail-in votes so they can count the votes and cheat like they usually do. Just like the judge of elections in Philadelphia, stuffing ballots. Flying Fox Fruits! I don't know. Flying Fox Fruits, I've never looked. But so he loses a key, and Biden gets a key for scandal. But nothing he's done is linked to anything that is attributed to his behavior. Trump never owned servers with top secret intel on them. He never deleted 30,000 emails. He never engaged in a military intervention that destroyed a country like President Obama did in Libya. So, I mean, there was a Secret Service scandal in Colombia that I don't want to get into, but where under President Obama, Secret Service agents did not pay, let's see, how do I say this, female companions, and that was swept under the rug by media. When they say, oh, well, President Obama had no scandals, no controversy, yeah, the media was complicit. The media is an extension of the Democratic Party. They don't address any controversy when it's a Democrat. When it's a Republican or when Trump especially, they make things up. The standard by which they investigated Trump, you could utilize to start a special counsel on Peter Schweizer's book, Clinton Cash, or anything, or the mountain of evidence found by Tom Fitton and Judicial Watch, or all the writing of John Solomon. So, I mean, so Professor Lichtman doesn't give him a key because of scandals, but the scandals are fabricated. They're not fabricated with Clinton, because Clinton, both of them, he was in that Oval Office. Oh, I was in the Oval Office, I admit. What is. So he doesn't get a key because of the scandal. Jimbo! I wonder if he courts Libya as a key for HRC. Exactly. Well, that's the thing. If he counts Libya, yeah, that's the thing. They don't ever, judge Media does not judge Democrats in the same manner it judges President Trump. Any failure of President Trump or perceived failure they obsess over it. So in contrast, Helmut Norpoth focuses on enthusiasm, which Trump has in every one of these public relations polls. The one thing they can't spin, because the polls are complete garbage, complete and utter garbage. The polls are complete public relations garbage. Absolute public relations garbage. You cannot say that Biden is up by 15 points nationally if you can't even explain why anyone would vote for Biden. If the answer is only he's not Trump, that's not an answer. That's not an answer. It's not an answer to simply say he's not Trump. That's why so Biden is up 15 points nationally. Why? Because of Trump's lack of response. How does that work? Do you go, and this is yet another thing that I always talk about. Do you find a spouse or get married to a person because you say, honey, you're the least horrible person I've ever met in my life? Do you say that? Do you say, my love, I just want to tell you something. You don't stink as much as everyone else. Happy Valentine's Day. Do you say, I just want to tell you that spending my life with you would be a lot less crappy than spending my life with the other person? Nobody speaks like this. Nobody talks like this. Okay? Nobody goes into a car dealership and says, look, I just want a car that will break down later than the other car I was thinking about. Nobody says, I want shoes that hurt my feet less. Nobody says, I want cologne or perfume that is marginally better than a skunk. Nobody says these things. I want to buy some, I'm looking for some cologne, but I just, this cologne smells tiny bit better than a sewer. So I'll take it. Nobody says that. Matt Kalmark! Hillary has to run. 2016, she promised many powerful people favors for donations to the Clinton Foundation. If Hillary doesn't run in 2020, some of these people who donated money won't be happy if she's not president. That's also one interesting way of looking at it, too. Matt Kalmark! That's one interesting way of looking at it, too. Thank you, Matt Kalmark. Thank you. Matt Kalmark, thank you. Yeah, I mean, that is something that, because the influence is still there. The influence is still there. I think that Matt Kalmark, that's an interesting point. Why does everyone? Is there? Am I communicating in a way that's bizarre? I don't think. I'm getting these messages in the chat. Oh my God, HA is on cloud 9. I mean, how many beers did this man have? It's like I'm fine. This is just my annoying self in all its glory. My very annoying, amusing self, Matt Kalmark. Puffy eyes. Let me see. No puffy eyes. Puffy. My eyes look puffier tonight, I guess. Thank you, Luke St. Martin, Eric H526. Thank you. That's a Matt Mark. That is a great point. Also, I think also that just in terms of the political machine, it's basically a political machine. David, thank you. David, thank you. It's basically a political machine like Tammany Hall. That's another thing I repeat. Boss Tweed. Madam Secretary is the new Boss Tweed. She's Boss Clinton. Mad Cow Mark, thank you very, very much. Thank you. But they just, see, when you live your life based on your contempt for another human being, you don't see the world in the manner that it really is. The lenses that you use to see life are clouded with just negative emotion. And if you have TDS, you have derangement issues to Trump, you stub your toe, it's either Putin or Trump. Something bad happens, it was Putin or Trump. Your back hurts, it's Putin. He did it. He's the reason you stub your toe at night, and he's the reason your back hurts. And Trump, and this is the funny thing also. This is also why Professor Lichtman's keys, 13 keys, they're predicated more so this year than any other year upon the way the media looks at Trump. So the media says, well, he hasn't achieved any foreign policy achievement. He definitely has. Okay, so he didn't pronounce Yosemite, but Biden said that he's running for Senate. That's another issue also. Democrats are like, oh yeah, I wouldn't talk if it's Trump with cognitive decline, okay? Well, they look at his personality like he's like from Jupiter, like he's from another solar system, like he's just from another planet. To them, his personality is a sign of some kind of mental issue. But that's the way Democrats are. That's tied more to their arrogance and narcissism and hubris than anything to do with Trump. President Obama didn't pronounce the Marine Corps correctly once. And so nobody cares. Okay, Obama. So his pronunciation. So Corman, he pronounced corpse man. Okay, so if you're looking at a teleprompter, if you're reading something, you can get sidetracked or whatever, and you just pronounce a word in the wrong manner. That's not a big deal. You have Biden, who literally stated he's running for Senate. He called Arizona a city. Brickyard 4738, exactly. I'm the only person in the entire internet that has Biden merchandise. I have the Riding with Biden tank top. I haven't even. I was actually that was for my third channel, but I stopped doing that. I have to do bizarre. Maybe I'll start doing Bizarro World Goodman again, but I can't. The screaming and yelling is like a little bit too much. But so the 13 keys from Professor Lichtman. Okay, then he talks about economic collapse. Well, who is blaming President Trump? Who's blaming President Trump? Trump wants to open up the economy, and the Republicans want to open up the economy. Democrats say, no, not yet. We really care about human lives. It's all about human lives. Oh, my God, it's all about human lives. Oh, I think we have to start, living. You know what? Have you seen the movie Mad Max? We have to live just like Mad Max or Waterworld. It's the safest thing to do. So, my cognitive test. My cognitive test is just it's thinking about how Democrats are going to go from Biden to Clinton. At this point right now, the way that they've behaved, I am the biggest Clinton fan in the entire internet. Like, I'm almost rooting for her. I'm almost like a cheerleader. Kind of, not really. But like, I am like praying. I'm like waiting. This can't happen. They can't be that inept to where they go with Biden. At the end of the day, there would be a silver lining because Trump would easily defeat Biden. And I don't understand also the polls were wrong in 2016. Democrats never learn. I mean, when will they learn? They never learn. They always appeal to authority. See, they never have an actual argument. Mad Cow Mark! Biden has IQ. Mad Cow Mark, climb BMX, hello. Mad Cow Mark, thank you. Mad Cow Mark, thank you so very, very, very much. To my Australian crew, thank you so very much. Jimbo. I have so many great people in Australia. Thank you so very much for watching. Like I said, tell your friends. There was like a YouTuber that tried to make fun of me in one of his bizarre skits. Like, these people are obsessed with me. They were obsessed with me, which is fine. They'll be obsessed with me again when I make the biggest political call of all time. But he was like trying to... he was trying to say, oh yeah, H.A. Goodman, cares about his viewers around the world. I'm like, yeah, why wouldn't I? I'm very happy. I'm very honored that people around the world watch my channel and H.A. Goodman's other channel. Well, why wouldn't I be happy? I'm very happy. Jimbo! Madam Secretary won't let us down, H.A. Oh, I know. Jimbo, the best, I think the best, I don't want to say, let's see, what word should I use? History always, history is filled with examples of very powerful political leaders who never stop. And Madam Secretary is one of them. David, hello. David Von Kettering, hello. Yes. But so you have these keys, and there's another key. We can go into it like, look. Okay. President Trump's personality. Hold on, we'll get to Trump's personality in a second. He also claimed that Trump is not a charismatic candidate for large swaths of the country. That is wrong. That couldn't be further from the truth. President Trump has a tremendous amount of charisma. The problem, though, first of all, you have a person who had a show, The Apprentice, that was like, one of the top shows in all of television for a decade, over a decade. You have a person who was on all the late night talk shows before they got the memo never to speak to him again. You have a person who, you have somebody that there's a tremendous amount of enthusiasm regarding President Trump. People are voting for President Trump. Very enthusiastic voters. He defeats Biden by like 35 points in that category. Democrats don't have enthusiastic voters. They just have people who don't like Trump. That's it. Pete Solano! The Democrats are crazy, so this election is the most important in history to save the U.S. Constitution. I agree with you. Pete Solano, I agree with you. I agree 100% with you. John, hello. Hello, John Monroney. Hello. Pete Solano. I agree with you 100%. Bruin Lancer. I'm now 100% sure the switch is at the convention. From your words to God's ears, from your mouth to God's ears. Bruin Lancer, hello. Hello, Bruin Lancer. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of when, and I will have made the biggest political call of all time. I just don't know when. Who knows? Who knows what they do? I'm at this point right now, I'm waiting for Biden to just jump into the reflecting pool without any clothes on. Enjoy the visual. If you're about to go to bed, enjoy the visual. But Trump has a tremendous amount of charisma. He's hilarious. When I listen to, I love comedy. I love comedians. Everyone from, the greats, Richard Pryor, Don Rickles, Red Fox, Robin Williams, Dave Chappelle. I love Cat Williams. I love there's a Ryan Long is a great comedian. He's awesome. Jane, hello, Jane. De Belleville, hello. Thank you so much, Jane De Belleville. Thank you. Ryan Long is one of the few comedians nowadays that he's awesome. Great political comedian. He's fantastic. Actually, subscribe to his channel. He's awesome. He's hilarious. This is actually, he has a, when wokes and racists actually agree on everything, it's not even a parody. It's like so true. Ryan Long is fantastic. He has 116,000 subs. He deserves 1 million subs. He's 1 million times better than most comedians in this day and age. 1 million times better. Because I swear to God, I watch comedians this day and age, like, I'll see a comedian with like 100,000, 200,000 views. And I'll look, and I will not laugh once. Do you understand? I won't even laugh once. I'll be like, this is me listening to the average comedian in this day and age, because everyone is so afraid to be offensive. And part of comedy is, a fine line between, just laughing hysterically and being offended. But, like, Dave Chappelle, Sam Kinison, Sam Kinison couldn't have an act in this day and age. Okay, you look at Howard Stern, he could not start his career. They would try to ensure that he would be like, fired from every job if he started off in this day and age. So, but when President Trump gives his speeches, they're hilarious. So hold on one second. Did I give you Ryan Long's? This is Ryan Long. He's fantastic, ladies and gentlemen. He's really fantastic. But Trump, when Trump gives one of his speeches, I'm laughing. Like, I am laughing because he's hilarious. The man is hilarious. Okay? But again, you have 63 million Americans who voted for this man, despite the apoplectic, seething, fuming, hysterical, fanatical attempt by media to paint him as like the spawn of Satan. So he has to have a tremendous amount of charisma. There's not a person on this planet, if the entire media descended upon them, that would look good Trump not only looks good to his voters because of his hilarious personality. I mean, of course he pushes the envelope here and there, but he's funny. The man is funny. The man is funny. He has charisma. He doesn't even get a key. Do you understand? He doesn't even get a key. He doesn't even get a key. Climb BMX. Hopefully you'll need to work on John Durham impersonation. Yeah, that would be awesome. I look forward to that. I look forward to that. I definitely look forward to that. I definitely look forward to that. But Climb BMX, thank you. Thank you, Climb BMX, thank you. But Big Chris, Climb BMX as always. Thank you so very much. Big Chris, the left is worse than they were in 20. Oh, yeah. Oh, a lot worse. I agree with you on that. Jim AJ with a Durham mustache. I have the mustaches. Big Chris, they think everyone hates Trump rather than them. Exactly. Everyone hates them, so they're so insufferable and lame. Oh, I agree. Big Chris. Climb BMX. I can't wait to do that impression. No, I agree. And the interesting thing is, Big Chris, that when they lose again, it'll be amusing to see how they spin it. It'll be like, do they look in the mirror and then say, oh my God, we've deceived ourselves. Like this entire time, all we did was just try to, blame Trump for, everything that has ever happened that's bad in the universe. Just because we don't like his personality. And then we cheated Bernie Sanders and blamed Russia and, for cheating Bernie Sanders or for letting us know that Bernie was cheated. We set up and framed Trump. And we focused on his personality for 3 years. And we just, lied about, his quotes and fabricated scandals and controversies and swept under the rug any issue, any major scandal or controversy with Democrats simply because we don't like his personality. Morpheus! Thank you, Morpheus. Thank you very, very, very much. Morpheus, thank you. But Trump, he doesn't even get a key. Morpheus, Climb, BMX, Big Chris. He doesn't even get a key for charisma. That's like the one thing he definitely has is charisma. He's hilarious. He has a certain type of personality that resonates with millions upon millions of Americans, and it's not the ogre that he's painted by Democrats. Don't even listen to his actual speeches. There are beautiful things said during his speeches. He's condemned bigotry 1,000,000 times. It's never enough. It is never enough. They don't ever give him a chance. And this is something like the critique of Trump, one of the biggest critiques of Trump, and thank you again, Morpheus, thank you again. Webby! Oh, Nick DiPaolo is amazing. He is amazing. And I love Nick DiPaolo even before he became big on YouTube. He's awesome. Nick DiPaolo is awesome. Greg Giraldo in that era was an amazing. He was one of the best comedians I've ever. He was one of the best comedians of all time. Greg Giraldo. He passed away, but he was amazing too. I know that he was friends with Nick DiPaolo, but Nick DiPaolo is hilarious. Love Nick DiPaolo. Nick DiPaolo's funniest bloke on YouTube. Keep up the great work, Batman. Webby! My Australian crew is like really. I mean, they represent. Thank you so very much, Webby. Jimbo, you have you've brought all the wonderful Australian viewers to this channel. Thank you so well. Aussie J, I had for a long time, and I had a bunch of Australian viewers for a great many years. Thank you, Webby. That's true. I agree with you. But there's something that people say, and it kind of annoys me a little bit, and it's a critique of Trump. That is it's reasonable. It's a reasonable critique of President Trump. It is a reasonable and rational critique of President Trump. And it doesn't really annoy me, but I just think it's a little bit, Bravo 420, hello. I think it's a bit unfair. And here's what I think regarding the critique about his personality, whether or not he's presidential. This is, you can look what they did. Okay, who was that gentleman who raised he raised $1 million for Children's Hospital? And, okay, Carson King. And this is why. This is how insidious media is. And this is a microcosm of what they do to Trump. President Trump has given more funding, has allocated more funding to historically black colleges and universities than any president ever. And obviously more than President Obama. He signed the First Step Act, prison reform legislation, which is addressing a lot of the issues that people are protesting about, or has addressed certain issues. We had record low black and Latino unemployment, record low unemployment nationally before the pandemic. First president to step foot in North Korea. Okay, he's done a lot of great things. Media is deliberately and consciously, in a methodical manner, does its very best to erase any achievement from Trump, while at the same time trying to make him look as bad as possible. But I want to read you this. He raised $1 million for a hospital through beer money. Then his old racist tweet surfaced. Who cares? It's unbelievable. Anheuser-Busch cuts ties. Why did Anheuser-Busch cut ties with this man who made tweets that he apologized for? And instead of sticking by a man who raised $1 million, do you think if, like, when it's all said and done and there's an afterlife and you go to God and he's like, do you want to get into the pearly gates? State your case right now. He's like, well, I raised $1 million for a children's hospital. For Iowa's Children's Hospital, I raised $1 million. And I helped the lives of countless children. You did? Let me open up the pearly gates. Oh, wait a second. I have a woke millennial journalist who said that you wrote some offensive tweets. Sorry, we can't let you in heaven. Do you think that's going to happen? Do you think that's what would happen? And the journalist that went after this man, Carson King, had his own tweets that were offensive. I mean, this is so you can raise $1 million for a children's hospital. Just what was it like? He had a sign that it was like about like something like beer money or whatever, and then he utilized the publicity to raise $1 million for the children's hospital. then Anheuser-Busch, because the marketing department, because these companies are so gutless, they're so cowardly. And the wonderful journalist that really, the intrepid journalist, oh my God, what a good person this journalist was. He then, okay, so let's see. Des Moines Register fires reporter who uncovered past tweets from viral beer guy. And then you have so hold on one second. I want to find out exactly why. So this reporter who went after the man who raised $1 million. $1 million. For how many people on this planet can say they raised $1 million? What's better? Like, does that not overshadow tweets that you apologize for? Does that not overshadow? Have you not done enough good for humanity? How many people can say they raised $1 million? And if they did that to this man, what do you think they're doing to Trump? And then I want to find it. So let's see. So did this man, was there some, then there was an issue because they constantly throw rocks at glass houses. So a reporter who dug up a local hero's old offensive tweets was fired for his own offensive tweets. So there you go. You can't do anything good in this life. I swear to God. I swear to God. This new, generation. I don't want to say this generation because there's so many amazing millennials and amazing people. But it's like, who cares about tweets that you wrote? That's why I don't have Twitter. That's why I deleted 2 years ago my Twitter account. It's the worst. It's a way to silence. It's a way to erase a person's contribution to humanity forever, but just because it's like the most absurd, sad, and pathetic way to just to hurt people politically. Pete Solano, we have to unite, not fight. Remember, divide and conquer is the democratic way to try and take down Trump. That's true. I agree with you, Pete Solano. Thank you, Big Chris. Nerds and Revenge of the Nerds are cooler than the left right now. Exactly. I actually saw the movie Revenge of the Nerds. Hail Joshua. Exactly. Everyone in history has been cooler. They're so lame. Exactly. But what Big Chris and Pete Solano and Morpheus? Please do Bubba Bill talking to Sleepy Joe. Oh my goodness, Sleepy Joe. Now listen, you can do one of two things. You can swim across a river full of piranha, or you can take off your clothes and jump into the reflecting pool. Which one is it? I spoke to the wifey, and she said what you should do is one of the opening scenes in James Bond. I think it was The Spy Who Loved Me, where you jump into a smokestack from a speeding helicopter. Whatever you decide, I'm with you. Jimbo! Don't expect humility from the left. Exactly. Mad Cow Mark. It was me, Mark White, who was pushing for Eric H526 to become your moderator. Is that right, Eric? I've been here from the start. Mad Cow Mark, thank you. Just now we're on lockdown. I get to watch live, not the replay. Mad Cow Mark, thank you. You've been watching for a long, long time. And thank you so very, very much. I appreciate that greatly. Mad Cow Mark, thank you. Thank you, Mad Cow Mark. Greatly appreciated. Thank you. Webby! Talking about Exhumed Bodies. She's doing just fine. That's the Katharine Hepburn. But Big Chris, everyone here, Webby, how many people in the world can say that, like, what can you do on Twitter that could surpass $1 million raised for a children's hospital? In Judaism, it's called a mitzvah. It's like a good deed. It's just the word is a good deed. So how many mitzvahs can you do in your life that would equal $1 million for a children's hospital? The man raised $1 million for a children's hospital, Carson King, and Anheuser-Busch was so courageous that they cut ties with him because of tweets from a reporter who had his own offensive tweets. What a dysfunctional society we live in. This is pure public relations dystopia. The good thing about me is that when people wrote a hit piece on me, I didn't care. I did my retaliation, via whatever, and that's it. Like, I did that retaliation, but I would explain on H.A. Goodman's other channel. I'd say, like, you know what, that's not right. They wrote unfair hit piece on it. Raw Story wrote 2 hit pieces. The Daily Beast wrote a hit piece. Everyone wrote, oh my God, you didn't vote for Clinton. And this was when I was a Bernie Sanders supporter. So you can disregard people like they drink the haterade. That's all they do in life. But Mad Cow Mark, thank you. Big Chris. Everyone here, what more can you do in life than raise $1 million for a children's hospital? And what does this have to do with Trump? If they can go, if one reporter has the power and influence, or one publication, if the Iowa Register can publish an article, or Des Moines Register can publish an article that gets a man who raised $1 million for a children's hospital to make an enormous company cut ties with this person after he raised $1 million for a children's hospital because of a tweet. What do you think they're doing to Trump? There is no way anything good he's ever done is erased from history, President Trump. And his tweets are magnified to the point of obsession. Like, I'm a Trump supporter. I don't look at his Twitter profile like obsessively. The only reason I look at his Twitter profile is because I have to report on it. And that's it. Like, I don't wait on my life isn't dependent upon, I'm not like, there's like a Pavlovian response that the left gets. Their mouth starts watering. The mouths start watering. Oh my God, you tweeted again. Oh, what did he say? What did he say? Like President Obama could, that's why I bring up Libya. He could literally, or Flint, he could drink Flint water while it's poisonous, say it's not poisonous. He can engage in a failed intervention, and they don't care because he didn't tweet. Or he's a Democrat. Bush got us into never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts. I want every American soldier back home with his family tomorrow from these places we shouldn't be in because of Bush. And he is friends with Hollywood celebrities now. They don't care about, like, human life or the good deeds people do. They care about public relations. If your personality is offensive to Democrats, you might as well not exist. If they don't like your personality, there's something wrong with you. In reality, there's something wrong with them. Why would I care? I remember I had friends who I've known forever who got into a big, oh my goodness, they got so offended because I support Trump. And then I heard the same things from these people. Oh, well, none of your friends support Trump. I was like, well, first of all, I have friends who do support Trump. Secondly, why would I give up what my friends think about anything regarding something that I am passionate about? So I should decide what to eat or what music to listen to because my friends don't do it, or because what? Who cares? Oh, well, you change. And then the other thing the left does, you change your mind. Yeah, I changed my mind. You should too. Look at what they did to Bernie Sanders. Look what Bernie Sanders is doing to his voters. He doesn't even have the courage to say he was cheated. They're just followers. The left is full of the biggest, their lives are predicated upon following the prevailing social media mentality or paradigm. That's it. That's it. They can't think for themselves. If they do, they're a heretic, or they've engaged in blasphemy, and they never believed anything, and they never believed what they were thinking of. It's like, no, I still think that if Medicare for all were feasible, it would be great, but it's not feasible. Oh, yes, it is. Well, then why haven't Democrats voted on it? Why haven't they passed the bill in the House? Why is Biden literally saying he would veto it? And why doesn't Bernie Sanders care? So I haven't changed. It's the left that keeps on it's the left that keeps on getting stomped on and believing a bunch of absurd fantasies that Trump worked with Russia or that Trump is the embodiment of racism, when their own side is worse. Trump didn't write the crime bill. That was Biden. Trump didn't raise $10 billion for the people of Haiti and the money just disappeared. No, that was the Clintons. So they're the biggest hypocrites. Then they say, oh, it's whataboutism. No, it's called hypocrisy. You're a hypocrite. You say their entire act and charade is predicated upon being morally superior. Then you have the climate change fanatics. And do I believe in climate change? Yes. H.A. Goodman 100% believes that climate change is real. Do I believe that Democrats, the rhetoric they use correlates with the actions? Their actions? Vox published an article. The House passes the first climate change bill in a decade. So you mean to tell me that the the beginning of the end of human civilization is going to be in 11 years, and you passed one climate change bill in a decade, and I'm supposed to do a gymnastic routine and change my entire life and focus only on rhetoric pertaining to climate change and a Green New Deal resolution that Democrats, it's not a bill, it's not legislation, it's a resolution that Democrats wouldn't even vote on in the Senate. So they don't care about the things they obsess over. They use these things as political tools. That's it. That's all they do, is use them as political tools. They use them only as political tools. That's right. 3G SSF, hello. CG3 SSF, hello. But I guess my long-winded explanation of Trump's personality is, does he act presidential? Does the media treat him like he's a president? That's the question. It's not whether or not he's presidential. It's does the media treat him as like he's a president? No. The media does not treat him like he's a president. The media treats him like he stole the Oval Office from Madam Secretary, who will be the nominee. And it's like, if they focused on disparaging and trying to denigrate anyone, if the media, and look what they did to that man Carson King, if they can well, I don't say ruin, but if they can sever the relationship between a man who raised $1 million for $1 million for a children's hospital, if they can sever a business relationship or a whatever, I don't know if it's a business or a marketing relationship, like, so Anheuser-Busch, the advertising and marketing department said, oh, we can't have this. The $1 million for the children's hospital, that's okay. I mean, countless children benefited who are going through life-altering, horrible things, and God bless these children and their families. And hopefully the $1 million that Carson King raised helped the hospital and helped these children and helped their families. So instead of looking at the good, the wonderful good deed, the brilliant marketing minds, the courageous and noble marketing minds at Anheuser-Busch said, oh, well, no, he wrote something that's offensive. So that overshadows $1 million. How many people do you know that raised $1 million for a hospital? I don't know any. Do you? Did Pelosi raise $1 million for a hospital? The Clintons raised $10 billion for Haiti. Where's that money? If media can do that to Carson King, that man who raised $1 million for children, what do you think they're doing to Trump? So if you have every celebrity and you have every publication and you have the Washington Post and the New York Times, and you have publications that obsess over every word and create subtext. So what they can't get Trump on in terms of his words and manipulate any nuance or context or remove any context or nuance from the meaning of his words or what he intended to say, then they create and fabricate subtext. So what they can't get him on pertaining to what he actually said, they get him on something that he meant because, he speaks to the homing. He actually speaks in a subliminal wavelength where bigots and racists have a little chip implanted in their brain. Paul Bartlett, thank you very much. Paul Bartlett, thank you so very, very, very much. Greatly appreciated. Paul Bartlett, thank you very much. To my Australian crew, thank you very, very, very much. Paul Bartlett, thank you very, very much. Greatly appreciated. Thank you. Thank you, sir. But that's what they do. And it's like, Paul and everybody here, thank you again, Paul. Greatly appreciated. If you've been in high school, I think in any country in the world, maybe in the United States, it's worse than most countries, or middle school, you can see how it's like Lord of the Rings sometimes. You can see how young people can be cruel. Or no, Lord of the Flies. You can see, like, if a whole bunch of kids are picking on another kid, it's like it's almost impossible for that kid to try to, you've seen, everyone's lived this experience either personally or they've seen it happen. You have the cool kids in class. They team up against one person, and if that person is extremely strong, then they find a way to fight back or ignore the people who try to torment, the individual. But what Trump is doing is better. He's like going after and fighting them, and not only playing their game, but he is deciding the rules of the game. He's manipulating the entire media. So media can't stand that, so they try to make him look even worse. And it didn't work in 2016 because media made him look like the most horrendous. Trump was a racist. He was a Putin puppet. He still won. So, how can you not get a key for that? And then when Professor Lichtman's 13 keys thing, but the issue is nobody would look presidential. President Obama, certainly not Bush, Reagan, nobody would look presidential. Bill Clinton, are you kidding? The way they the media obsessed over the Oval Office, but that's what he did, though. It's not like they didn't say, well, there's a report that he could have. Paul Bartlett, thank you again, Paul. Greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. Thank you, Paul, again. Greatly appreciated. Nobody would be presidential in this type of scenario. So when they say, well, he's not presidential, the response should be, well, media doesn't treat him like a president. Look at the Jonathan Swan interview on Axios. Oh, you're talking about lives lost as a proportion of cases. Well, I'm talking about lives lost. Well, who cares what statistic you're talking about? Why don't you focus on the statistic that shows the U.S. is doing better than most other countries? Why would that be? Why was the statistic that Jonathan Swan focused upon more relevant or more important than the statistic that Trump was focusing on? And are there factors that contributed to, I don't know, perhaps that New York is run by a Democratic political machine and doing worse than any other state by far, as is New Jersey. And there was an article the other day, and New Jersey is a model. It has the second most lives lost and cases in the entire country. How is it a model? And God bless the people of New Jersey and New York and Michigan and Illinois, Pennsylvania, but about 5 to 7 Democratic-run states account for half of all the lives lost. We have 50 states. Paul Bartlett, again, thank you very much. So that's what like they say, well, and there are a lot of good people who are like, look, I just don't like his personality. I'm voting for him. I don't like his personality. Well, I don't think that anyone would like a person's personality if the entire media obsessed over everything the person said and tried to distort and manipulate every single word. No president could survive that in terms of a public relations sense. There's not a political leader on the planet that would look good. And you look at Bill Clinton, Bush, President Obama. At the end of the day, the media treated them like presidents. And especially President Obama, the media loved. Bush, Dan Rather was fired for a story that wasn't true. There are like 30 stories about Trump and Trump Jr. that aren't true. Nobody gets fired in this day and age. So the media is completely different. Completely different nowadays. So this, gets back to one of the keys from Professor Lichtman, but it's also like, it's also like there's not a person alive that would look good if media just tried to obsess and take them down. Trump is doing actually a pretty amazing. He's doing something that most people on the planet could not do. He won. And he didn't just have the Washington Post, the New York Times, MSNBC, CNN against him. He had corrupt intelligence officials who fabricated things based on high to moderate confidence assessments. And you have these wonderful liberals who are like, oh, yeah, they do so much for us. Well, what did they do? Can you tell me a major historical moment that they predicted or correctly evaluated from the Bay of Pigs to the Gulf of Tonkin? Can you please, to WMD, can you please tell me what these wonderful human beings have done to help this country? And then, so you have the Durham probe, and John Durham and they're like, oh, he's investigating the investigators. Yeah, that's what should happen. The investigators should be investigated. The investigators should be investigated. Why wouldn't you investigate people that, Jimbo, if HSC wins, she'll ban cigars from the oven. Oh, I'll see to that. I'll see that doesn't happen. I just can't wait to smoke a nice Cuban cigar. Oh, my goodness, Jimbo. Jimbo. Oh, that's another thing, I mean, what is his? Robin Williams has a great joke about the blue dress, which is, again, I'm not going to say it, but it's a great joke. Jimbo! Wait, whose birthday is it? Whose birthday is it? Carol, is it your birthday? Happy birthday! I'm looking from Laura. Happy birthday, Carol. Happy birthday, Carol! Is it your? Everyone wish Carol happy birthday. Happy birthday! Is it your birthday? I'm looking. I can't see that. All I can see is a message. Jimbo! Exactly. Paul Bartlett, thank you. Jimbo, thank you. So you look and there's nothing that Biden can do. Do you understand? There's nothing that he can do. There's nothing that Biden can do to get Democrats to say that to say that this man made a racist comment, because they do not have the ability to utilize the same value system or the same ideology or the same standards they used to judge President Trump to also judge Biden. Democrats and media and liberals and many progressives, the left in general, very good at judgment and condemnation. That's another thing. It's like, why would I care about your judgment and condemnation when you can't even debate your argument? This is one of the biggest reason they're going to lose to President Trump, again, is because they never had an argument as to why Democrats would be better. They have never explained why they would be better. Never. They have never, ever explained why they would be better. Like, why would you vote? Why would you vote for, why would you vote for Democrats as opposed to President Trump? Who do you think is going to do better with the economy? We had record low unemployment. And we had record highs in the stock market that never happened under President Obama. And you can say, well, it was going down. So it also hit highs. Oh, well, that was because of the stock market crash. Okay. It took like 4 or 5 years to recover completely from that. So President Obama is credited with the economy rebounding. It took it was the slowest recovery of any recession ever. It took 5 years, and unemployment throughout the country was still high for 5 to 6 years. And eventually it went down. With Trump, the economy sped up a lot faster than at any point in President Obama's administration. And then they were saying, well, you know what? It was not that big of a deal. And then you had Bill Maher saying, "Oh yeah, we need a recession." Well, now we have a recession, and they'll still lose. We don't have a recession. Well, do we? We're on the brink of a recession. But if Democrats opened up the economy, we wouldn't. We would actually rebound. It would be a V-shaped recovery. The point, though, is that who do you think's better on the economy? Obviously, it's Trump. Because you can say, we already had, even if the rebuttal is, well, President Obama we would have had it then. We had it under President Trump. So we had it under President Trump after tax cuts. Are you saying that President Obama would have cut taxes? No. Morpheus! Why aren't I ahead in the polls? Morpheus, hello. Paul Bartlett. Thank you again, Paul, as always. Thank you as always. Paul Bartlett, thank you. Thank you. You go ahead and you look at, why would you vote for Biden? What is it about his foreign policy that people like? Democrats are completely oblivious when it comes to foreign. They don't even mention it. Their foreign policy is fearing Russian Facebook ads and election interference. Everything gravitates towards their chances in an election. They impeached Trump because their chances were impeded because of Trump in an election, or allegedly, or they thought that their ability to win was compromised. Foreign policy has nothing to do with the Democratic Party or its ability to win an election. Zero. Nothing. National security has nothing to do with the DNC or Facebook ads. Because guess what? The average American has the intellect. I know this is very shocking for Democrats, but the average American has the intellect to decipher what is real, what's not real, what is true, what's not true, what's false, what's accurate. Democrats are like, you have to think this way. If you don't, you'll be deceived. You'll be deceived and you won't vote for us. It's like, no, you cheated Bernie Sanders. We already know that. Yeah. Yeah. And everyone on your side voted alongside Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we know that. Yeah. And and you had an intervention in Libya that didn't work out, and now there are human beings being bought and sold. Yeah, that's Democrats. Well, I don't want to vote for that. Russian Facebook ads. National security has nothing to do with Democrats winning or losing an election. Nothing. Election interference, the obsession they have with election interference is one of the reasons they'll lose. Because instead of focusing on policies, that voters care about, or instead of saying, okay, look, this is how we will help the economy, they say, well, you know what? Russian interference, election interference. Oh my God, election interference. Like nobody cares. Nobody cares. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very, very much. To my super chat, thank you, Paul. Thank you very, very much. Jimbo! Dams deserve to lose house. Oh, that would be amazing. Jimbo would be amazing. Angela Goodwin. I hear LA went. Pacing. Angela Goodwin? I don't know. It's also a word for it. Okay, so Basingsi. Well, let's see. Ladies and gentlemen, Angela, thank you so very much. Jimbo, thank you very, very much. Paul Bartlett, thank you. Thank you, Paul, for always watching and for your kind words always and for your support. Greatly appreciated. Ladies and gentlemen, be here tomorrow at around 9 p.m., 9:30 p.m. Stephen, hello. Around 9 p.m., 9:30 p.m. Pacific in the evening. Check out my uploads. Eric H526, Luke St. Martin, thank you very much. It was a great live stream. Hillary Clinton is going to be nominee. Oh, yeah. Look at the Angela Goodwin. Look at the advertise. Thank you. Angela Goodwin, thank you. I'll see you all tomorrow, everyone. Thank you very, very much. To my super chat, thank you. Subscribe right now to H.A. Goodman's other channel. Ladies and gentlemen, we have not hit the election cycle yet. This is not the election cycle. Far from it. Far from it, ladies and gentlemen. When the election truly starts and it's Clinton versus Trump, tell all your friends there's only 2 channels on the internet that got it right. It's H.A. Goodman and H.A. Goodman's other channel. If you want to support my voice long term, my Patreon is below. But Paul and everyone here, thank you so very, very much. I'll see you tomorrow, everyone.